Now I have to know, have you ever gotten negative emails for an episode?
So I've not received really negative emails. I found there are comments out and about, and of course, ratings on the show. One interesting one, though, I will say, there was a comment left. We don't really have a YouTube channel in terms of making YouTube videos, but our episodes all get cross posted there. And I had somebody who was a physician comment. They took issue with us covering and making fun of, because part of the show is we were trying to make things humorous. So we are definitely taking everything in stride, which is sometimes difficult depending on the subject we're covering. But in this case, we were talking about somebody named Stuart Halstead. And he is the doctor who, back in the 19th century, basically developed the residency training system that we kind of use all over the world. And what may not be widely known about him if you don't look into it is that he was apparently a very good surgeon. I believe he did the first mastectomy, radical mastectomy, and but he also had a pretty extensive cocaine habit, and he was on cocaine much of the time. So when you can realize that his residency system resulted in, working days at a time and staying up and being on call all the time, and just, kind of what we've carried over into the modern day, we did the episode and we wanted to voice our displeasure with some of the ways that got carried forward. And this negative comment, was a person who said, how dare you? How dare you make fun of a titan of medicine like this? His medicine training has saved millions of lives. He doesn't deserve this sort of thing. And I was a little bristled by it, to be honest with you, especially from a fellow physician, but you do, sleep on it. Let's respond. And I did respond, and I said, I understand what you're saying, but number one, there are no sacred cows. A lot of the people and forebears that came before us, they were not perfect. And so we're absolutely not above ridicule, ourselves especially. And so I also took issue with the fact that, yes, while residency training has trained lots of amazing physicians and surgeons and everything that have saved tons of lives, this person commenting was assuming that was the only way it could be done. And I pointed out to them that, residents and I don't know if this carries beyond the U.S. I'm just kind of speaking from a U.S. standpoint because it's just what I know, but there's a high rate of suicide among residents and physicians. And a lot of that has to do with the very arduous training, the stress, other factors, etc. So I told this person, hey, when we point out that residency training is far from perfect, it does lead to a lot of hardship. And there are physicians who are committing suicide at a higher rate compared with the general public. I think it's worth looking at that system, even if it's with ridicule, to say, is this the right thing? I don't care who founded it. And to be honest, and to give credit to that commenter, they did respond and said, that's a fair point. And then they gave us a nice suggestion for the show. So, and it was contentious at first, but it honestly, it came out well.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to sleep on it and think it over sometimes, because all of us who create in one form or another get those kinds of things from time to
Yeah,
time, and it's one of the things. It's a balancing act, right? For your own mental health or for your anxiety or whatever it may be. Sometimes just sleep on it.
absolutely.
And,
And
and
I'll say, if the counterbalance to that has been a very surprising amount of people that have written in to say, I enjoy your show. We love that. We always love that. But we have people that have written in and said, I was going through this procedure and you guys happened to talk about the history of it. And it actually brought me a lot of comfort. We had one person tell us that. That was pretty incredible. We've had people who are physicians in war-torn countries right now that have told us that their bright spot is listening to our show, and that we've had other people say they found our show during a dark time in their life, and it just brought them joy. And that stuff, those are the messages you live for.